Hello everyone, thank you for joining this session. Today we are going to talk about Svelte, which is one of the most exciting new tools for building modern web applications. If you have been working with front-end frameworks like React, Angular, or Vue, you may have noticed that while these are powerful, they also come with challenges like learning curves, performance trade-offs, and large bundle size. Svelte offers a new way of thinking about building user interfaces. Instead of being just another framework, it redefines how front-end development can work. By the end of this talk, you will understand what Svelte is, how it's different, and why you might want to consider using it in your next project. The problem with the current frameworks. Let's start with the problem. In the last decade, we have seen an explosion of front-end frameworks. React, Angular, Vue, Ember, and more. They are all powerful, but this has created that we often call framework fatigue, the feeling that there is always something new to learn, and that whatever you pick today may feel outdated tomorrow. Then there is performance. Most frameworks rely on something called the virtual DOM. This adds a layer of between this adds a layer between your code and the browser's DOM, which helps developers write apps more easily, but it also adds overhead. On top of that, bundle sizes are growing larger, meaning your users have to download more code just to open your app. Finally, tooling has become more complex. To start a new project, you often need to configure bundlers, transpilers, linters, and more. It can feel overwhelming, especially for newcomers. This is the environment Svelte was designed to address. So, what is Svelte? So, what exactly is Svelte? At its core, Svelte is not just a JavaScript framework, it's a compiler. This is its most important difference. Instead of shipping a framework runtime to the browser, Svelte takes your code at build time and compiles it into efficient vanilla JavaScript. This means that when your app runs in the browser, there is no virtual DOM layer, no heavy runtime library. It's just plain JavaScript optimized for the task at hand. The result? Smaller bundles, faster startup, and more direct control over how the DOM is updated. And because Svelte uses a simple declarative syntax, you can often do more with the less code. Developers who try Svelte frequently say, it feels like I'm writing less boilerplate and more of what I actually want my app to do. How Svelte works. One of the most innovative parts of Svelte is how it handles reactivity. In most frameworks, you need special APIs to update state like set state in React or ref system in Vue. In Svelte, reactivity is built directly into the language. For example, if we have a variable called count and we increase it by 1 when a button is clicked, Svelte automatically updates the interface. There is no set state, no hooks, no watchers, just plain assignment. Behind the scenes, the compiler transforms this into efficient DOM updates. So every time count changes, Svelte automatically updates the text on the button. This makes your code easier to read, easier to maintain, and much closer to plain JavaScript. Comparing Svelte with React and Vue. Now, let's compare Svelte with some familiar frameworks. React and Vue rely on the virtual DOM, which is an abstraction. Svelte eliminates that step and updates the DOM directly. This makes it faster, especially for smaller interactions. Bundle size is another big win. React and Vue apps usually ship both your code and a runtime library to the browser. With Svelte, because everything is compiled, your users only download the code they actually need. That leads to smaller bundle sizes and quicker load times. And in terms of learning curve, React requires you to learn JSX, hooks, lifecycle methods. Vue has templates, directives, watchers. Svelte strips most of that away, so you are writing code that looks very close to plain HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So real world usage. You might be wondering, is Svelte just for hobby projects? The answer is no. Svelte is being used by real companies. Square uses it for some of their internal dashboards. Rakuten has adopted it in production, and even Spotify has experimented with Svelte in parts of the UI. On top of that, the ecosystem is growing fast. SvelteKit, the official framework built on top of Svelte, gives you routing, server-side rendering, and all the tools you need for large production apps. So it's not just about demos, it's ready for serious use. So this is a demo walkthrough. Let's walk through a quick example. In Svelte, a component is just a single Svelte file that can contain HTML, CSS, and JavaScript all together. A simple hello world might just look like a single h1 tag with some text. But let's extend that. Imagine we want a button that counts clicks. With just a few lines of code, declaring a variable count and binding it to the button text, we have a working reactive app. No imports, no boilerplate, no complicated setup. If you would like to try this yourself, you don't even need to install anything. Just go to the Svelte website and open the REPL, the online playground. You can write, edit, and run Svelte apps instantly in your browser. Why learn Svelte? So why would you consider learning Svelte? First, it makes development faster. You write less code, and the code you write is closer to the problem you are solving. Second, it produces smaller, faster apps, which means a better UI user experience. Third, it's easier to learn. If you already know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you are 80% of the way there. There are fewer framework-specific rules to memorize. And finally, it scales. You can use it for small side projects, but with tools like SvelteKit, you can also build complex production-grade applications. Conclusion. To wrap up, Svelte offers a fundamentally different approach to front-end development. By compiling your code at build time, it removes the overhead of a virtual DOM and gives you smaller, faster application with less complexity. If you would like to dive deeper, check out svelte.dev for the documentation, kit.svelte.dev for full stack apps, and the REPL to experiment hands-on. I hope this session has given you a clear picture of what Svelte is and why it's worth learning. Thank you so much for your time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.